Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Visual Mind Podcast, where we talk about all things business and mindset for artists. Today's gonna be a little bit of a different episode because today I'm gonna tell people why they should never call an artist talented. So, people watching this might be artists themselves, or they might not be, and they might interact with artists on a regular basis. And this goes out to all the people that have ever called me talented or any other artist and said, "Oh my gosh, you're so talented because your art is so beautiful." And just a little disclaimer at the beginning here, I'm not bashing you for saying this, and I'm not saying that you should never give an artist compliments. Not at all. And when someone calls me talented, it is kind of frustrating for the reasons that I'm gonna explain, but I'm not mad and I don't take it personal. It's not a negative thing. I see that it's meant as a compliment and I appreciate it and I say thank you, and I'm never unkind to anyone who says that I'm talented. Obviously, those people mean well and they meant to give me a compliment. So I do acknowledge that, but I will share with you why I think that you should never call an artist talented and why it kind of rubs me the wrong way if people say that to me, even though I know they mean well and I take that into account, but it still rubs me the wrong way, and here's why. Talent is a very fixed mindset approach. Some of you might already have heard of the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. These are terms that have been created by Carol Dweck, who is a researcher and wrote the book Mindset. And the book is all about the two different mindsets that you can have. And it's not an either or situation, it's more like a spectrum. So you're either more on the fixed mindset end of the spectrum or on the growth mindset end of the spectrum. What that essentially means is that when you have a fixed mindset, you believe that talents are fixed, that you're born with a talent and that it cannot be improved upon. But that doesn't have to be necessarily that you understand that or think that intellectually. So you can already acknowledge that talent can be evolved and increased over time with practice. You can already acknowledge that intellectually, but you're still more on the fixed mindset end of the spectrum because of the way you act. So on the other end of the spectrum, there's the growth mindset. Someone with a complete growth mindset, they get excited when they fail. They get excited when they can't do something because that is room for improvement. They see everything as an opportunity to grow and to become better and to become a better artist in that case. So someone with a growth mindset would think that their art improves over time and every art piece becomes a little bit better, or they just learn something over time. Failure is part of the process. Sometimes you're gonna create a really bad art piece, and that's super exciting because you find out what doesn't work, and then you move on from this and become better and better over time. Not every single art piece has to be better than the last one, but you get better and better over time. So this is the other end of the spectrum. So if you're really excited when you fail, that's when you know that you're in the growth mindset. And if something like creating an art piece that's out of your comfort zone and that's scary to create, if that scares you and then you don't do it and you just doodle the things that you already know you can do, but you never step out of your comfort zone, that's a fixed mindset. So you're not taking the opportunity to become better, and you're not really fully acknowledging that talent can be developed, and you're not acting like it. And so when you say that someone's talented, the problem with that is that you state that this is a born thing. At least that's what most people mean, right? We don't say, hey, you're talented, and then mean that the people have developed that skill over years and years of practice. Most people mean that this person has an innate talent, a gift, so to say, that they were kind of born with. Yeah, they had to practice a little bit, but they're just naturally better at this than on other people. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. And why is this so harmful in the first place? Because it puts people in the fixed mindset. It tells them that you're either talented or you're not. So if you're an artist or want to become an artist and someone tells you that you're not talented, there's no way to become talented. You either are talented or you aren't. A lot of people think that it's a natural ability to have that you either do or don't have, and that there are at least parts of art that you can't learn, like taste, for example. A lot of people think that taste is something that you either have or you don't. It's not something that can be developed upon, which is total BS if you ask me. I think that 99% of all things on this earth can be learned or improved upon somehow, and it just is a very different mindset. So the problem is that people who then are not talented, but they would have loved to become an artist, there's no way for them to do that because they're not talented. And also, researcher Carol Dweck, who wrote the book Mindset that I mentioned earlier, she found out in her studies actually that when you told kids that they're smart, for example, then they don't want to lose this label of being smart. So if you give them some exercises, they will always pick the easy ones because they want to keep appearing smart. They want to keep the label of being smart. And so when you praise kids, on the other hand, for their effort that they took in order to do these exercises, when you praise how much effort they put into this, how much time they put into this, then they're gonna be much, much more likely to pick the harder exercises and actually become smarter. So they will want to improve because they're not focused on whether they're smart or not. They're focused on effort and on improving, which is a totally different mindset, and it feels so much better because your self-worth is not on the line. When you're talented, for example, as an artist, then that's part of your self-worth because you are talented. And then you're gonna consciously or unconsciously do things in order to prove that you're talented, and you're gonna not do things that could disprove this. So for example, if I were to think that I'm super talented, I wouldn't want to draw something that I've never drawn before. I wouldn't want to do anatomy studies or figure drawing. That's something that I'm not that familiar with, and I don't do as much as other things in my art business. So if I were to think that I have a natural talent, I would not want to do figure studies because I could potentially fail at that. I could be super terrible at that. And then that would mean that I'm not talented, and that would really, really put a strain on my personal self-worth because it's connected to that. So this is why I tell people, do not call others talented. Do not think of yourself as talented because it's useless. And research has proven that this mindset is very harmful and it's not gonna help you. It's just the same as with being smart. Talent is very, very much affected by this because we always think that you're either a natural artist or you aren't. Also, another reason why you should not call an artist talented is because it dismisses all the time and practice they did put into developing their skill. So for example, I've been creating art for years and years. I studied this, I did so much practice, I've created so many pieces, and then when someone calls me talented, it's like I'm not even getting credit for the amount of time that I spent practicing and developing this skill. I learned this. I did not come out of the womb holding a paintbrush and being able to paint a landscape painting. That's not what happened. I practiced that. And I know that if I had practiced even more, I'd be even better. And I acknowledge that I might not be the best artist in the entire world, But if I were to practice hours every day, I could become much, much better than I am right now, because that's just how it works. It's like when you're training for the Olympics and then you're telling someone, whoa, you're so talented. It's the same thing, and people still call those people talented. No, they put hours and hours of work into practicing this. They did their training, they learned this, and they have to have the right mindset, otherwise they would not be at the Olympics. But it doesn't matter what we are talking about, the focus on talent, it just dismisses all the amount of effort that went into practicing something. And this is really disheartening to a lot of people and a lot of artists, and it really rubs me the wrong way, to be honest. Someone tells me, you're so talented and my art is bad. Then I ask them, how much time did you spend practicing art? And they literally just started, or they give up every time. They don't even practice it. So, I mean, it's no wonder that I'm better at art than you are if I took so much time to do this. And that leads me to the next point, that it hurts the person themselves who says that others are talented. When you call someone else talented, that puts you in the wrong mindset. You are now comparing this person to yourself, putting them on a pedestal, saying they're somehow different, somehow naturally gifted, and have something that you might not have. You might or might not have that. And you have to prove yourself whether you have that or not. And a lot of people who call others talented, they might not think as highly of themselves. So they might think that they're not as talented, and that really hurts them, because that keeps them from practicing and actually becoming better as well. So I'm not saying that talent 100% doesn't exist. I'm sure some people are naturally better at other things than other people. That just makes sense, and that's okay. I'm just saying we should not focus on that, because it makes literally no sense to me. If I were bad, for example, I'm not the most musical person, is that the word? I'm not good at music, and I didn't practice music. So if I were to become more musical and wanted to learn an instrument, for example, how would that help me to think of myself that I'm not naturally good at this? It just doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I'm naturally good at this or not. If it's fun to me and I want to learn it and I'm going to spend the hours that it takes in order to become good at this, I don't really want to consider talent at all. I don't care. I'm just going to put the time into this, and I know that I don't even have to be the best person at this in order to become successful with this. Again, I'm not the best artist in the world, but I am a professional artist. It works. You don't have to be the best at anything in order to become successful with it. There's also marketing and really all the other stuff that goes into being successful. And so your right mindset is going to help you a lot and might make up a lot for a lack of natural talent, so to say. Also, focusing on talent in art is just another way of obsessing about the end result, which I'm totally against. I think we should focus much, much more about the process. Of course, when we're creating an art piece, it's amazing if we have a beautiful end result at the end. But for me personally, art has never been about that. And as soon as I start to focus and obsess about the end result, I know things are gonna go wrong and it's not gonna turn out the way that I want to. And if I focus on just having fun and enjoying the process, it's gonna turn out much better. So it might sound counterintuitive, but as soon as you let go of this obsession of always having the perfect art piece, this is when you're gonna let yourself go much more and be much more creative and actually have the ability to come up with something much better. So let's not focus so much about the end result. Let's focus about growth, becoming better at this, enjoying the process, and actually just taking action and doing the things and learning in the process. So now that we have kind of established, or I have explained why I have this opinion and why I don't think that you should call someone talented or yourself talented, Now people ask me, what should I say then? Can't I give compliments to artists? What should I say instead? Or can I even say something instead? And to this I say, you absolutely can and should tell people who you admire that you do so. Give them compliments. This is amazing. Your support for another artist means the world. And I love reading all kinds of kind compliments. And I'm sure every other artist loves that too. So yes, give them compliments, but maybe get a little bit more creative with your ideas when it comes to that. So, as I've already stated, we should focus more on the effort that something takes. So, for example, you could compliment someone else's skills. I think that the word skill has a very different connotation than the word talent, even though at the end of the day they have very similar meaning. But I think talent always implies this kind of natural gift. I know that was probably not the initial meaning of the word, but it somehow got this connotation that it's somehow a natural thing, a natural gift. So I like the word skill much more because it has more of this connotation that you are improving, that you've learned something. A skill is something that you've learned and acquired over time. It's not something that you were born with. So just with this simple switch from talent to skill, I think it's already much, much better. So you could tell someone that you admire their art skills, for example. Much better than telling them that they're talented already. You could also say, hey, I've seen that your art has improved so much over the last X amount of time. This is an amazing compliment to give. Or I've seen that you're taking a lot of time improving this, really praising the effort that people take. I've seen that you did this art challenge and you managed to do it every single day. This is amazing. I admire it so much and I see that you've grown so much from this. This is an awesome compliment as well. You could also compliment specific things about the art piece that you like. Just do not focus on this artist's self-worth, kind of. I think as soon as we say that someone's talented, it's always a little bit tied to the worth of this person because we perceive someone who's talented as more worthy as someone who isn't. And you cannot deny this. This is a subconscious thing and we do connect this. And this is then connected to the worth of the artist. But the person is worthy no matter what. If you are an artist, it doesn't matter how good you are and how much skills you already have, you are worthy as a person, period. You don't have to prove this. Every single person is worthy of belonging and of just being loved and appreciated regardless of their skills and no matter what they've created and how far they've come and how successful they are. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion that I'm stating here because we admire successful people and we put them on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, they're also people. And if we ourselves want to become successful, we have to accept that those people are not that different from us. They just did something right. And what they did right probably is have the right mindset and approach this in the correct way and just put in the time and the effort that it takes to become successful. So you can do this too. Everyone can do this. Everyone can practice and improve. They just have to actually do it and actually put themselves out there. And if you doodle the same thing over and over again and don't really focus on improving at all ever, then you might actually not improve. But if you want to grow, put yourself out there, sometimes leave your comfort zone with your art, focus on the fun and get a good balance between all of those things, then you're gonna naturally improve. And if you see that you haven't improved with your art, you can always ask for feedback. Ask other people who've done it, who are amazing artists, what their feedback would be, or just get an art teacher, get some art classes. If you really want to focus on growth and getting better, I'm totally sold on this idea that you're gonna be able to do it. If you want to do it, then you can. And if you can't, then you might subconsciously not want to do it. Sometimes we have subconscious things that are holding us back. And if we're bad at something and we stay bad at it, no matter how hard we try, there might be something wrong with our mindset and we might be standing in our own way. This is why I love coaching other artists on this, because it's so much easier to see this from the outside in versus on ourselves. And I also love to get coached myself, because my coaches, they always point out something that I wouldn't have seen myself. And also with my coaching clients, I know what situation they're in because I've seen it, I've done it, I've been there too. And I can easily point out where they might be standing in their own way. This is why I love this so much. So, long story short, I'm not here to debate whether natural talent exists or not. I'm just stating that we should not focus on it because there's no use. It's useless because it does not inspire growth. And if we want to progress as a society or just people individually, if we want to become more creative, then we have to inspire growth. And the right way to do this is to get more into this growth mindset, move more towards this end of the spectrum, actually accept that skills can be improved upon, and praise the effort that we're taking in order to become better at it. So this is my take on this, and I might send this video to everyone who calls me talented in the future. And if you're an artist and someone has called you talented and this has rubbed you the wrong way, share this video with them and let me know in the comments down below if you're seeing this or watching this on YouTube, what you think about this topic. I'd love to read your opinions. Maybe someone has a different opinion, but if you have really good arguments and your research, I might be listening to you. It's just a very interesting topic and I love talking about this. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please give the podcast a positive review, and I'd love to see you next time. Goodbye.